Welcome to the Adventure of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Yo! Oh my God. I was just checking something out because I just got approval to another show. So that's why, like during this intro, I was checking that out and then I came on and here I am on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio. I am back from what a journey on the Pipeman Radio tour. And then, like I said, I just got approval like right now. As the show is starting, I was looking at the approval. So anyway, just to catch you up, last time we talked, about the Pipeman Radio tour. I just got released on parole from incarceration, and Juan, you can come on. I don't need to talk without you here. You can join in. Okay, we got in the studio Juan, and he's here with me. The pet health guru is going to be here later, and so. And I see the pet health guru. We might as well bring him on too. He doesn't have to wait. As soon as he comes on, there we go. Hello, pet health guru. I'm starting with my recap of the Pipeman Radio tour, and then we're going to get to your guru-ness.
Okay. And so, whatever that happens to be today, I don't know what it is anymore, I'll tell you.
I know, right? So, as I was saying, folks, last show, July 27th, that I was off the Pipeman Radio tour. Like, of course, we've done stuff since then, but I had gotten released from Shawshank Prison. They let me go. They even allowed me to travel overseas, and I went over to, hey. Stop pounding over there. People are listening to that crap.
I know.
Mute your mic if you're going to do that. Mute your mic if you're going to do that. Oh. So, anyway, I flew overseas to, and oh my God, what an adventure it was. I had 3 flights to get over to Germany, and the 2 layovers, they put them so close together that I literally had to do an O.J. Simpson through the airport both times, running with a 50-pound backpack on my back to the farthest part of the airport, because the first layover was in Atlanta, which is a huge airport. And of course, my international flight from my domestic flight from West Palm Beach was the exact opposite end of that airport. So, and I just barely made it on time. And then from there, I went to Germany, but we had to stop over in Amsterdam. And I don't know, it's because of the coffee houses or whatever, but I had to get all the way to that flight too. Very short time frame. Basically, I literally was running with this 50-pound backpack through the airport to catch a bus to the train. And I was the last one let on the bus. It was just like you see in the movies, like jump through the doors type of thing. And that wasn't because we were late either. That was just how they scheduled the layovers, that they were that close together. And Amsterdam airport is huge. I forgot how big that airport is, that I had to run through that whole thing. Proof that whatever I've been doing health-wise for the past several years, that my heart is doing great, because this trip has tested my heart for sure, and that's only the beginning. So then, Wacken Open Air, the holy ground, the biggest metal festival in the whole world. I was there. The press tents open from 10 a.m. till 3 a.m. That's very long. I did a record 47 interviews at that festival. Now, I have done, in the 3 festivals in the past month, I've done like over 125 interviews, which is insane. Nobody else does that but the Pipeman. But basically, this place was so big. Like, I'm flying over there. I'm like, oh, I've been to some big festivals. This can't be that big. Oh, my God, I didn't even see the whole thing. It's that big. And I was there for 4 days. Okay. I didn't even touch the surface. One band wanted me to interview them at the stage they were playing at. That was an hour walk. I couldn't do it. I had other interviews. It's a 2-hour round trip just to do an interview. It was pretty wild. What an amazing festival. I met a lot of new friends, a lot of new great press people. Relationships that'll last a lifetime. That's what's cool about these events. And that's what's cool about being on the Pipeman Radio Tour and all these bands that are now friends of mine. And, you know, I keep getting the same responses, which makes me feel good. Most fun interview I ever had. I had somebody actually chase me down at Wacken because they interviewed with me a year ago at Bloodstock, and they wanted to do an interview. Like, literally was looking for me. They had somebody find me at the biggest festival in the world. That's dedication. That says something, in my opinion. It's been so long that my beard is gray. I've aged over the past month. Okay. And by the way, stay tuned, because I am going to Warped Tour Montreal that I got approved for Wallows in Germany in a couple days. I might be changing the hair up again. So you're going to have to pay attention. And anybody that does pay attention to that, you want to win tickets to Rocklahoma? You need to hit me up on my socials and direct message me and tell me what you think my hair is going to be like on Wednesday. That's what you got to do to be entered to win. Okay, so then Wacken Open Air, I think I got over, I was there like it was 4 days, and then there was an extra couple days. So I was there for like almost a week. That's how long the festival is. Okay, but the main days are 4 days. But let me tell you something. If I slept 8 hours total in that 7 days, that's a lot. And it was super freaking hot and then cold at night. So like the first day of the festival, I was boiling hot during the day and freezing at night, like literally freezing. Insane. So then I had a couple days off between that and Bloodstock. By the way, Wacken, 35th anniversary. Bloodstock, 25th anniversary. I stopped over in Rome for a couple days to relax. I don't know how relaxing it was because the Pipemen don't really relax, but I still didn't sleep, okay, because I had too much to see and too much to do. Then headed over to UK for Bloodstock, and I'm waiting on one more, but I tied my record for last year at Bloodstock, and I have one more that'll beat it. And I was told I had set records last year of ever in the 25 history of that festival of interviews. That's how the Pipeman rolls. Surprising I still have a voice right now. Surprising I'm not dead right now, because I didn't get much sleep then either. Towards the end of it, though, you know, you're talking about a few weeks, couple weeks. I definitely was running out of steam. But then I had promised my grandkids that they would come stay with me in Florida before school started, and I kept trying to make arrangements. And they were so busy that finally what I did is I got off of a flight from the UK that was a 9-hour flight, 5-hour time difference, that I had zero sleep because the festival ended, and then a couple hours later I had to be on a plane, and I flew into Orlando. Drove from Orlando 4.5 hours to meet my daughter to pick up my grandkids, and then drove back to South Florida 6.5 hours. So 25 hours later, I finally got some sleep. And I think this weekend I kind of like just checked out, you know, but I was still working all weekend, but I didn't leave the house probably whole weekend. That's kind of how it rolls. You're go. And then you come home, don't even leave the house for a couple days and seclude. But when I got back, I got approval to go to Motley Crue, Tesla, and Extreme at the, I think, Financial Amphitheater. What a great show. I was pleasantly surprised. Vince Neil actually sounded good, which he hasn't been a lot in past couple years. People were complaining about that. They sounded tight. They sounded good. It was a great event. And as I said in the beginning of the show, I just got approved for Jack Johnson coming up as well. I think that's tomorrow night. So that's pretty badass. And so no rest for the wicked, because then I leave for a Warped Tour in Montreal. And then after that, Rocklahoma in Oklahoma. So we unpacked a lot there, and there's more coming on the Pipeman Radio Tour. Make sure to check out all the interviews on the Adventures of Pipeman.com or anywhere you listen to podcasts. They're all up there. Make sure that you also take a look at the socials. I put some pictures up. I'm going to be putting a load more up of all the adventures. Now, that all being said, what's more important is health. Well, first of all, human health. All of that I experienced, and it was hot as hell in the UK too. They had a drought for like 2 months. It's never like that there. It was so freaking hot in the UK, and the dust was so bad because they haven't had water in forever. It always rains there. So I guess there is no global warming, maybe. I don't know. No climate change, maybe. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I was glad to get back to Florida where it's nice and cool off. And as silly as that sounds, I'll tell you how high it was there. But more importantly, I'm here. I'm alive and well. Proves that if you handle your health the right way, the natural way, instead of all the poison and bullshit, you can live life better than anybody, because there's not anybody that I know of in my world from 20s on up that could keep up with what I just did. Now let's talk about your pets, though. We want your pets to live that same life. And that's why we have the pet health guru here. So he can give us information that helps humans and pets, but he is the pet health guru. He's going to help your pets live longer. He's going to help your pets be healthy. He's going to help your pets be youthful even when they're not. And so let's welcome back on the show the pet health guru.
Thank you, Dean. It's good to be back. I know you were away traveling, everything else. I've been going through all kinds of stuff between the store and moving myself personally. So it's like a whirlwind. I know exactly what you're talking about. I get yelled at all the time because I don't rest. I just keep moving. And at my age, I'm a bit older than you. People just can't believe it. But yes, it's about health. It's about what we put into our body, how we take care of our bodies. And, there's so much resistance out there. It's like we have been so misinformed on every single bit, basically, of health, advice, monitoring. There's no health medicine. That's the biggest part of it. We're just being overly medicated and chemical contaminations in the air, the water, our foods, all of that stuff. And it takes its toll over time. And we have to fight back.
No doubt. And you made a comment. It's so true, though. I always say to myself, I'll rest when I'm dead. Like, who needs rest? Live life to the fullest. If you got health, you don't need it. Of course
right.
You need some. But, like sleeping your life away, I think makes you unhealthy. But I want to know, especially since my hair is all disheveled now from weeks and I got to go get it done in a couple days. What is it with hair and pets? That's what I want to know.
As far as, some breeds, of course, shed a lot. Others don't shed at all. Different lengths of coats, different coat types. But again, all of that is tied into nutrition because you have to have good, a good diet to have good hair. And, when we start using harsh shampoos, chemicals, all of this stuff, it takes its toll on it. They end up being matted and, all tangled up, and then they got to be shaved off. And that doesn't help them at all because that hair actually, you're talking about the weather and how hot it is. That's actually an insulated blanket for them to keep the heat away. So when we shave them down to keep them cool, supposedly, it doesn't keep them cooler, and it actually.
Houston, we have a problem. Okay, we'll pause Bill for a second as he swirls back in. Okay,
his computer got overheated.
And that could be it. That could be it. Mine did get overheated at one of the festivals one day. I'm like, ooh, and the dust, and ooh. But
That doesn't sound good for the computer.
no. And I don't bring it every day, but I was bringing it so I could get the interviews done instead of at 4 a.m. like I was some days. Some of the days when you were getting that stuff, it was like 4 a.m. I was doing that crap. And okay, he's back. Do.
This internet
Somebody
stuff
didn't like what
driving
you
me-
said. Somebody didn't like what you said.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
we
probably
need
it.
to,
Yeah, the censorship thing.
Yeah, we need to do something about your internet for sure. But we'll talk about that after. So stay on after the show
Yeah.
so we can talk about that. So go on
Okay.
with what you were saying. You got cut off somewhere.
Well, when we were talking about the skin and coat and the hair and that sort of thing, that when you shave down a dog, a long-haired dog, in the summertime with all this heat, you've just taken off that insulating blanket, and they can also become sunburned. They're feeling it a lot worse than if you take that shaggy dog and leave them shaggy. They're fine for the most part.
So, I want to talk about that more because it's funny, there's some people that say, oh, I wouldn't live in Florida because of my breed of dog. They would die there, with the heat. And then there are people that shave their dogs. And, I thought it was wrong to do. Like, there's a reason why they have that hair. And you just explained it because, like, people that are bald get sunburn. So why not dogs too?
That's so true. It's they think they're doing the right thing, but most of it is for convenience. I don't want my dog shedding all over the place, so therefore I'll clip them. Well, you know what? You selected a breed that does shed, and then you feed them garbage food, so there's no good hair growth, and of course you're going to get hair loss. You're going to get all that mess. It's just one of those things. You have to be more selective, and you got to watch what you feed. And that goes back to a species-appropriate diet.
So my question too is so what's the difference and why is it this way that, like, say a pug, which I had, sheds like there's no tomorrow, but a Bichon, which I had, doesn't shed and is hypoallergenic?
It's, they bred these dogs, these breeds, for breed characteristics, what we want them to look like. And, just because you bred them for a shorter snout, that flat look on a pug, something else is going to change. It doesn't just change one thing when we're looking at this type of genetics. We're looking at changing the whole body, and you have to pick and choose basically when it comes to breeding what characteristic you want, what's most important, and then either live with the consequences on the other one, or don't do it in the first place.
Yeah. So do you guys ever do like hair and fur analysis for, determining certain things that are best for the animals?
Yeah, we do hair analysis as primarily for heavy metals. And of course, that tells us, where the body happens to be in any given point in time. The beauty of hair over blood work's that moment in time. And anything could be going on as far as stress or anything else. When we do hair analysis, you're looking at a 6 to 8 week period of time, which kind of balances the whole thing out. It's not about that one event. It's about everything that's going on, all the exposures they have. One of the things that we find almost 90% probably is aluminum and mercury toxicity, which, as we know, comes from certain injectables that are, used as a prevention in our animals, unfortunately, that don't prevent anything, but, it does create this cascade of illness. And, that keeps the medical community, happy because they're making lots of money on reducing down symptoms, not curing anything.
So tell us, what their best bets are if they know nothing about any of this. How should they find out more information, make sure their pets, are healthier, better, and their coat is doing what it's supposed to be doing?
Well, it's interesting on last week's show on the Pet Health Cafe, we talked about looking at the natural stuff. And of course, the number one thing is don't put bad stuff in the body. Keep them away from the chemicals, keep them away from all these preventative type things. Keep them away basically from doctors, if you will. And don't panic. That's the one thing that people do all the time is they panic. They live in fear. And that fear is what drives them to the animal hospital or even a human hospital for themselves for the smallest little detail. All these little things that happen as far as looking at health are normally just isolated events. Diarrhea, vomiting, housekeeping. A limb. Oh my God! I overexerted myself on too long of a walk, or too much time in the pool, or at the gym exercising, which is highly overrated, as you know. It's like we're body sculpting. We're not making ourselves healthy that way. We're just we want a certain look, and we want our animals to do the same thing, and it's not necessarily in their best interest. I've been hearing about it with the heat down here recently. That's what it's too hot outside. Too hot outside. Dogs could care less for the most part.
Now,
Why are they laying out in the sun and not in the shade? They want to.
we talked about, dogs in the sun, people cutting their hair for them to be cooler. I have seen a lot of people who own huskies here in Florida where it's usually never cold. Is there a difference in huskies, or is it the same as everyone else?
Basically, it's the same. That's an insulated coat that they have on. Look at the number of people today that, when they go back to the 60s and 70s, everybody was running around with no shirts on in the summertime. And, they weren't getting very, very badly sunburned for the most part until we started using sunblock. And then we got cancer instead. Because the body knows how to handle it if we're eating properly. Same is true with our dogs. They will shed a certain amount of coat. Generally speaking, dogs shed their coat twice a year if they're going to shed it all. And, it's a seasonal change. A heavier coat coming in for winter months, a lighter coat coming in for summer months. And, they don't feel it any worse than we do. The thing is, too, that they don't sweat like we do. Basically, their cooling mechanism is through their mouth, bringing in the air itself, panting, if you will. And, people see a dog panting right away, think they're like, heat stroke or something of that nature. Again, they panic, they run to the animal hospital, whatever. If you're really concerned, throw your dog in the pool, One of ours, that's, during the day, she'll just wander into the pool, take a swim across it, get out on the other side, and she's fine. And she's got a longer coat. She's a golden doodle. So she's also a little bit nuts, but that's a whole different breed character.
So tell everybody how they can reach out to you, Pet Health Guru. Check out My Paleo Pet. Check out your show. Check out your podcast. All the good stuff.
Well, our show's live on the Pet Health Cafe on these same networks and on YouTube and a whole bunch of other platforms. They're available, all the past ones, the archives are available 24/7, again, through these same outlets. As far as product and information, product, of course, we explain a lot of things on that podcast. We also have our website for My Paleo Pet at mypaleopet.com. The store, 954-971-2500 for information, for products. We carry some 2,000 health products, everything from species-appropriate diets, fresh food, herbal blends, just herbs themselves and botanicals that you can mix your own or do it yourself. We're also a farm-to-table venue where we have raised in Florida proteins, clean meat for change, not all the antibiotics, hormones, GMO corn, GMO soy, none of that stuff. Actually, right, because of the hot weather, the chickens don't get to lay eggs in the heat. So it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes. We also do, of course, clean air, clean water. Big part of it is a clean water to keep things rolling through, keep our animals flushed out and decontaminated, if you will. And, we're here for you, around the clock. It's just a matter of phone calls. We do consultations. We do, we help out with different rescues as well. So, just reach out to us at mypaleopet's probably the easiest place to reach me by phone. And we can set up a consultation for you and get your animals back to health. And of course, yourself as well, because the pet parents have to be healthy.
Absolutely. Well, you're always a wealth of information and so helpful for our pets and us. Everybody has to check more of you out. If they love their pets, they'll love the Pet Health Guru. So thanks once again. And everybody make sure, go to Pipeman Radio, all socials, enter to win tickets to Rocklahoma. And we only have a couple left to give away. Now's your chance. And keep listening, because we have a lot of stuff coming up. Check out all the interviews on any podcast outlet that we've done recently with bands or whoever else. And thanks for being here. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman here on W4CY Radio. Roll it, Juan.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.